Hey, Terry, how are you on this Terry Tuesday?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm kind of flabbergasted, befuddled. I don't know what other words I can come up with that are long that mean confused, but I had to really work hard yesterday to not get the pick fours with my selections. Most of my races, either the second or the first or the third pick one, and somehow I didn't, except for the first two races, and somehow I managed not to get the pick four. But I don't know, just one of those crazy days.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I was really excited about my pick five, but then my eight didn't ran second, so it kind of blew me out of the water. But we had a pretty darn good day, even though we didn't hit any pick fours. We had a lot of box bets and a lot of exactas that paid very well, and some trifectas. So and your best bet of the day won. I think.
I don't know. I think I'm starting to influence the odds a little bit, Terry. Every time I have a best bet out there, these things drop like crazy. Was what the 5-2 morning line went off at 3-5? What is that about?
Yeah, I know. It looked pretty good though, that horse did. I was sorry I didn't use that as my single.
And I was sorry I didn't use it as my single too. I would have hit
Yeah.
everything. Today, looking at this card today, I got a feeling it's much like these Kentucky Down cards. It's the Virginia Derby Day over at Colonial Downs. That's what Terry and I will be tackling. A lot of deep fields, sunny and warm, so the track is fast, the turf is firm. Should be a great day of racing, but you got deep cards. You got some interesting pace setups. I have a feeling it's another one of those days where bettors might be better served with exactas and trifectas versus vertical bets.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Pretty wide open.
Yeah, that won't stop us from trying to go for the short par 4-1 with the driver. High risk, high reward. We'll have our pick fours, our hot dog pick fours, and our prime rib pick fours, along with our best bets and box it ups and everything it is that we do here
Yep.
with the Horse Racing Today show. Terry, you ready to get cracking on Terry Tuesday?
I am. Let's
All right.
go.
I got a feeling Terry's going to be hot today, baby, just like the California weather, just as long as they don't turn off Terry's electricity, right?
That's right.
All right. So race number one is 1.25 miles on the outer turf, Terry, for a maiden $60,000 affair. If we look at a mile and a quarter, I have my things in the wrong place. Okay. I knew something was not right when I was getting started. So far, they've won 6 races. 4 of them were won by speed, 2 of which, Terry, went wire to wire. As far as the post position is concerned, you had a win from the rail, a win from 4 through 7, and a big bonus at 8 and out. So far, none have won from the rail. Only 1 have won from 2 and 3. Fair from 4 through 7, and a big bonus if you get 8 and out. I was thinking about another race. So that starts off race number 1, Terry. Let's bring in our my pace worksheet, see how this all plays out. We did have a scratch here in race number 1. The 3 horse, which was a first time starter, scratched out of the race. The 7 horse, you see, I have these side marks on here that indicates horses that are running at basically the same level they ran last time. You have the NC in here, meaning the never close, but nonetheless, the 7 horse was never close. It is a left arrow horse in here, Terry. Does have a little bit of an advantage, a plus advantage at 2 furlongs, meaning it has a good chance to get out to the lead, maybe be a length ahead of everybody else at the quarter-mile marker, but still will have a long way to run after that, Terry. So I don't know if we'll be able to maintain. I haven't been my picks at all. We're kind of similar in here with maybe one horse being different. Start us off on this Terry Tuesday with a winner.
Yeah, let's start off with number 5, Union League. He finished 4th after having trouble during the race, and he was the heavily bet favorite in that debut. The trainer in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 5, and this horse has a good workout on August 27th. Then number 1, Timo. He switches to a high percentage winning jockey, and the trainer wins 36% of the time when he takes blinkers off. And then number 9, Remote. He appears to be able to lead the race to the finish line or come from off the pace, which is an angle I like. Has the highest race speed rating, drops in class today, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. And then number 6, Tiger to Remember. He returns after an 11-month break, but he's been working out well for his return. And the jockey in the last 7 days has won 3 out of 7 races.
All right, let's get cracking with this 9 horse in here, Terry, Remote. I almost made this guy a best bet. With the speed numbers this horse's run are so much better than anything anybody else has put together so far. He'll either need to regress a lot or somebody else is going to have to come way up the ladder if he just runs his normal race. Smooth Sailing is a first-time starter. One is probably a safer play here, but the offer at the rail is concerning for me. Number 1, Timo, the only one that's been close to the 9 in terms of early pace numbers, speed numbers as well, was much improved early in its last, but tailed off late. It's going to have to sustain from beginning to end if it wants to win from the very difficult position of the rail. And then finally, number 5, Union League does have a plus late pace advantage based only on the debut. Was the $1.80 favorite at Delaware Park to kick off his career. Gets Joel Rosario, which I think is, you can't get much better than Joel in the irons. Should be able to capitalize on the late run. I just wonder about horses that are coming from Delaware facing horses that have run against stiffer competition at Tier 1 tracks. Race 2 is 1 mile on the inner turf. It's optional, claiming $50,000. So far at the mile on the inner turf, they've trotted out to the starting gate 48 times, 27 of which of those were won by speed horses, which is a kind of a rarity on the turf over there. 8 of the 48 went wire to wire. There is a small penalty if you wear a 1, 2, or 3. 4 through 7, you get a slight bonus, and it is the best. 8 out is a small penalty. And here, Terry, if we take a quick look at the pace worksheet for race number 2 at Colonial Downs, once again, we see some scratches in here. The 10 horse, which might have impacted the outcome of this race, because that now makes the 7 horse the likely leader on the front. The 3 and the 6 don't really have the pace numbers to keep up with the 7, at least so far. The 8 horse is likely to push forward over here and maybe challenge the 8 for the lead as a left arrow horse. 5 horse, really didn't really show much. Not a whole lot of late pace, a closer in there. We see that the 4 does have the most late pace, followed by the 2. And you see these 01s and 02 here. These mean the 8 has the best combination of early pace and late pace. The 7 has the second best combination of early pace and late pace. This is my box it up, Terry. But before we get to the box it up, we have the same 4 picks. That makes me feel happy. So tell me about your 4 picks, and then I'll put my box it up.
Well, first of all, I was disappointed that Indian Lake was scratched because I like that horse quite a bit. But let's go with number 7, Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes. We learned all about that in World War II history, right?
All right.
Yes.
Well, he finished 3rd versus Tupper in his last race. He drops in class today, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. So there's a lot of boxes checked off. And then number 4, Scano. He won his last race at Colonial Downs, so he likes the track and has a high percentage winning trainer. Number 8, Strike Me Down. He's won his last race at Colonial Downs also and has a high percentage winning trainer, and his last race was the highest speed rate. And then number 1, 7 Channels. He finished 3rd in his last race and is ridden by a high percentage winning jockey, Irad Ortiz.
I don't know about you, Terry. When we were kids, we didn't even have 7 channels. I think we had like 4. What was it? UHC? Was it called UHC?
I don't know. UH something.
So you had like the regular channels and then like UHC. And did you have the antennas with the aluminum foil on them, Terry?
I did. Yeah.
And who was the person in the house that had the magic touch that when they banged those TVs, the picture came in?
My mom, but we also had an antenna on top where I'd have to go up there and I'd have to turn it. My mom would yell out the window, "Okay, a little more. Okay, right there."
Right. Kids really don't. I mean, they have all that on their hands now, right? They don't. What we're talking about right now is anybody under like 50 is like, what are these 2 crazy old men talking about?
I know. All we had was channel 2, 4, 5, 7, and 11.
Yes. And they get for the UHC. I was going to say UFC, but that's fighting. All right. So this is my box it up in race number 2. I'm going to start with the 8 horse, Strike Me Down. As I showed on the pace worksheet, is a left arrow horse, does have the top early and late pace combination in the field like that. Like the fact that the horse has run 4 times at Colonial Downs, 2 wins, 2 seconds, did tie for the top last race speed figure. And the resume says that the 3rd race off the break could well be the best of this 3-race cycle. Number 4, Scano, owns the top late pace numbers in the field. In fact, last time out had a really explosive late move, making the third start off a break that was more than a year. So this horse should probably be coming into tune right now. Number 1, 7 Channels. Again, we talked about the TVs there. Was a hard call for me over the 7 in the third spot here. The 7's been off for more than a year. This one horse is the lone pressure horse in the field, so can sit off the pace in front of the closers. If it gets the right pace, Irad Ortiz should be able to capitalize. And then finally, your first horse, Blitzkrieg, which in German means lightning war, if I remember correctly, has been off, as I mentioned, a long time. But before it headed to the bench, was running almost exclusively in graded stakes company. If he's ready, probably the best back class, probably the best horse in this field. Based upon the conditions, I think this is really more of a tune-up for this horse. And the workouts so far are kind of uninspiring, sort of blah to me. So I'm putting Blitzkrieg as my 4th choice in race number 2. Race 3 is on the card here is a 6 furlong on the dirt, optional claiming $25,000. It is for a purse of $70,000. 6 furlongs on the dirt track so far, Terry, 22 times, a lucky 22, 15 of which were won by speed. 7 went wire to wire, so you better have some giddy up and go in that gas tank. There is absolutely an outside to inside bias, smaller rail penalty, so the rail's not as bad as wearing a 2 or 3. 4 through 7, a little bit above par, but 8 and out is by far the best, Terry. If our pace worksheet for this race in race number 3, again, a couple of scratches. This is an interesting race to me in terms of the pace setup. You don't have any that really want to close in here. Everybody's either a pressure horse or an early pace horse or one that can sit in the middle. The 10 horse should really be ideal here, sitting in the middle between this and this. So should be in front of the ones that like to chase and should be able to pick off any of the ones up here that like to tire. The 8 horse, as you can see, Terry, has a plus advantage at the 2 furlong marker, so at the quarter mile marker, but gets 3 pluses, Terry, in the 4 furlong marker, meaning it can be maybe 3 lengths ahead of everybody else. And because of that triple advantage at the 4 furlong marker, the 8 horse, Aristocratic, is my best bet, but it's your second choice.
That's right. That's right. Well, I actually like what you said about the 10 Magical Warrior because he won his last race at Tampa Bay Downs. He has a high percentage winning jockey and a trainer who wins 50% of the horses when they're dropping it off of a win. And then I like what you said about the 8 horse, Aristocrat. He ran second in his last race at Saratoga, receiving the highest last race speed rating. Then number 1, Reed Can. He should improve while returning to dirt, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And then number 5, El Guapo.
El Guapo. You know what that means, Terry?
I think the big guy or something like that.
Handsome.
The boss.
He's
handsome.
He's big, handsome.
Okay, that's you then.
So that's you, Terry.
Oh, okay.
You're big, handsome, especially with those baby blue eyes that captivated Honey Bunny.
That's right. Well, he tried turf, and now he's back to the dirt where he finished in the money in 4 races in a row, and he won one of those starts. So be careful.
So hopefully you'll still like what I have to say after the race is over, Terry. But I do like Aristocratic. Does have that huge advantage. Should run away from these early on in the race and just, you got to cross your fingers it doesn't stall out late. A Magical Warrior is undefeated in his last 3 races, improving the speed number in every one of them. Likes the distance, well, at least so far, 2 times out, 2 wins. Does have the top early pace and late pace combination in the field. So it should be a good race between the 8 and the 10. You and I differ on the next horse. I have the 6 horse, Trash Talkin' Yankee. Has run at the distance 8 times, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Well, the resume says that the third off the bench should be as good as the last race, probably maybe a little bit better. And then finally, El Guapo, Terry, Mr. Handsome himself, 1 for 1 on Colonial dirt. Let's see if El Guapo can be El Guapo at a price when the race is over.
Sounds good to me.
Race number 4, is 1 1/16 mile. This is a handicap for $100,000. Again, this one is on the dirt course, which they, when I think of Virginia Downs, I mean of Colonial Downs, I think more turf than I do dirt, but running a lot on the dirt today. So far at 1 1/16 miles, 3 races. 2 of those 3 were one off the pace, none of which went wire to wire. So maybe you want to be mid-pack. So far, 1 winner from the rail, 1 winner from post 2 and 3, and 1 winner from posts 4 through 7. Our pace worksheet on race number 4. We got a couple scratches in here too, Terry. You have the 3 and the 5 and the 2. So that moves all of these horses over here to the E. The 1 horse does have an early pace advantage at the half-mile marker and the quarter-mile marker. Probably going to be on the lead with the 7 chasing right behind here. And you got a whole bunch behind here that like to run a little bit late. The 4 horse catching a plus, and I haven't seen this, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, not that often anyway, a plus advantage when it comes to the early pace and late pace combination, Terry. So really a lot of different things in play here. You like that 4 horse with that late edge.
I do. Yeah. Jilted Bride. She finished second in her last race, and she has the highest last race speed rating, the highest speed figure at today's distance. Number 6, Battle Bling. She ran second versus Tupper in her last race, drops in class today, and her best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Number 1, Hashtag Lucky is my third pick. She won her last race at Colonial Downs, has a high percentage winning jockey and a trainer in the last 14 days have been in the money 5 out of 6 times, winning 3 of those. And then number 9, Symbol Justy. She won her last race and has a good workout on August 27th.
Same 4 horses outside of the 1, just kind of jumbled up the other 3, put them in almost the exact opposite order. As I mentioned, Jilted Bride, I haven't really seen one that has such a strong early pace, late pace combination edge. Did run the top last race, speed figure, run at the distance 10 times, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 thirds. Quick math says that's 9 out of 10 times in the trifecta. Hashtag Lucky. I think I'm going to put that in the descriptions going forward here at YouTube and Facebook and so forth. It is a left arrow horse. You know how much I like those. Does have a plus early advantage at the 2 and 4 furlong marker, so should have a little bit of a lead out there. Ran at Colonial Downs 1 time on the dirt, won that race, which was the last race. That last race, in much better 1 mile fractions than anything that she's done in the last 10 races. And the past performance sheets say a big chance she improves in round 2 off the bench. I almost feel like I should put that one in front after that commentary. Number 6, Battle Bling is the morning line favorite, is dropping in class from a grade 2. Off since early July. The works, getting prepped to get back to work are only okay. So I think the 6 is a vulnerable favorite in here. And then number 9, Assembly Justy, winner of 2 in a row. Decent works getting ready for its return off the break. Race number 5, Terry. It is a 6 furlong race, a maiden special weight, $60,000. A lot of first timers in here, Terry. So really not a need to go through the pace worksheet. Those 6 furlongs, as we mentioned, 22 races, 15 won by speed, 7 going wire to wire. Outside is better than inside. 8 and out is by far the best so far. I think this race is absolutely wide open, Terry. What do you say?
I do, because if you look at what I've picked and what you've picked, they're all completely different. That makes it, to me, an all race. But anyway,
I think you're probably right about that.
Yeah,
that is definitely the Terry all race.
That's right. Well, I like number 2, Inventing Anna. She ran second versus Similar her only start, was well bet in that debut, and switches to a high percentage winning jockey. And then number 13, Humor Sense. She finished third versus Similar in her last race. Lasix is added and has a good workout on August 31st. And number 1, Lure 'em In. She's a first-time starter, has a jockey who in the last 7 days has been in the money 8 out of 14 times, 4 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. And she has a really good workout on August 30th. And then number 10, Silent Swinger. She ran second versus Similar in her last start and improved her speed rating.
So as you know, Terry, when we have these races that are loaded with either experienced horses or first-time horses, I like to divide them in buckets. And usually I pick from one bucket or the other. Yesterday, it did not work for me because I picked the bucket of first-time starters and the 3 horses that ended up coming in first to start that pick 5, I think, if I remember correctly, were all horses with experience. So today I'm going back to that well. I'm going to go fishing in the first-time bucket again, and hopefully the gambler's fallacy that I am due will come to fruition for me today. So I'm going to go with number 6, Super Tropical. I like the fact that this horse put in a bullet workout in the last workout before it heads to the track. As I've mentioned before, Barry Meadows of Skeptical Handicapper book fame. This is an alpha angle that wins at about 15%, maybe even higher than that. Hang the Moon, the 5 horses, my second choice. This is from our spot plays, Eddie C angle. Eddie says he's noticed over time that horses that put in the bullet work, then a maintenance work, and then go to the track is one of his favorite angles. So we'll give Eddie C a shout out today. Number 7, Dreaming of Snow. It's not something I'm doing, folks, living in Chicago. But Labor Day brings snow to mind. I'm dreaming of a beach, a drink, and big winners today, Terry. But Trainer Gerald Barnett has some of the best numbers with first-time starters and debut horses, winning at 32% with jockey Sammy Camacho. It's a hell of a combination for a jockey and trainer. And some of the mammoth workouts for the 7-horse Dreaming of Snow look very, very strong on paper. And then finally, number 9, Flying Bessie, $230,000 horse. Nothing else in this field comes close to that price tag. Trainer Steve Asmussen, as great as he is, only okay with maiden special weight horses. So I'm going 4. I'm taking the Jared approach, Terry, here to the maiden race here. Hopefully that's right, because it is also the back end of our hot dog pick 4s. And like you said, I wanted to go all in that spot, but at $18, no chance, unless I went 1, like 2, and then all, which I should have probably thought about doing. But in any case, here are our hot dog pick 4s, Terry. You're going to go 3 by 2 by 2 by 3, traditional $18. I'm going to go 3 by 1, my best bet. Going to single it by 3 and by 4. I was really thinking about trying to tighten things up in those first 2 or 3 races where I got 3. But I want some coverage there, and hopefully one of those first-time starters hits at a price.
That's right.
And there's no chance for us to both win.
No, there isn't. So one of us, this is like the contest between the 2 of us to see
who's going to fall.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen? We have 8 complete different horses in race number 5. If I were you, I would take the ones we don't agree on. The winner's going to come from there.
Yeah, it sounds like it to me. So.
All right. Before we go on to your best bet, Terry, every day the pick from the professor has his best bet as well. Yesterday, unfortunately, didn't do so well. But today, going to go with the Orioles again in game. Well, that's from yesterday. Does he have the play of the day out today? Let's see. There it is. Today, he's going to go with the Marlins and the Phillies in an uneventful game. Under 7 runs for -118. So a little bit on the favorite side. Looks like this is a pretty good pitching matchup. So not expecting a whole lot of runs in this game. Phillies and the Marlins under 7. If you like baseball, of course, the professor also does college football. There is a link to the play of the day. Make sure you bookmark that. That is in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. While you're at any of those on Horse Race Today from our social sites or on YouTube, please thumbs up, makes us look good for the algorithms at those tech giant companies. Tell your friends about us. We appreciate it. And then, of course, Sean, Jared, and myself on Friday nights are going to cover the NFL picks for the entire season. I think I hit it like 57% last year, Terry.
Wow.
And more often than not, I win around 55 to 60%. I think I've only had 1 year in the last 3 where my numbers weren't there. So if you bet on the NFL, and everybody does, make sure you tune in for that on Friday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern. Should be a lot of fun as the season goes on. Should be a lot of fun, too, in race number 6, Terry. This is the first, I think, of a handful of 5 stakes races on the card. It is 1 1/16 miles. It is the Kitten Joyce Stakes, 1 mile and 1/16 on the inner turf. If we take a look at the profile of a winner there, Terry, So far, they've run 42 races like that, so quite a few of them. That's a lot of races. 22 of which were won from off the pace, Terry. 8 of which went wire to wire. There's definitely an inside-out bias with the rail winning at about twice the amount that it should. 2 through 7 play fair. 8 gets a little bit of a discount. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here at what the pace setup looks like in race number 6, which I think I have up here. All right, no scratches in race 6, a short field. An interesting spot here to me, Terry, because if you notice, every single horse in here, none of which really have a history of getting to the lead and winning on the lead. Most of them are the horses that like to be patient and chase the winner or chase the leaders and then try to win. Got a couple left arrow horses here with the 4 and the 7. So those are likely to be your pace setters. The 4 horse having a little bit of an advantage over everybody else at the 4 furlong marker, and also has a plus combination advantage for early pace and late pace. This race, I think, is going to be a pretty good one, Terry, but you think it's going to be settled very easily with the 2 horse as your best bet.
That's right. I like that number 2. Gratified Flair, he won his last race at Saratoga, and the trainer wins 24% of the non-graded stakes races he has a horse entered in. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters, and they added Lasix today. Number 8 is my second pick, Determined Crush. He finished second in his last race at Colonial Downs, has a trainer who wins 22% of the time when bringing a beaten favorite back to race again, and the jockey in the last 7 days has won 3 out of 8 starts. And then number 1, Gigantic, I guess?
Gigantic?
Yeah, he won his last race at Colonial Downs. The Rail Post is winning at a 24% clip, and the jockey in the last 7 days has won 3 out of 7 starts with the second. Number 4 is my 4th pick, Duke of Gloucester. He finished in the money in both of his career races and has a good 4 furlong workout on August 28th.
All right. So for me in the 6th race, Terry, I hope. Well, first of all, let me just say, if you look at my sheets, you see I got 7, 7, 7. If the 7s win today, I'm going to have a great day. I got my horse racing today shirt on. The 7 horse, Terry. Funny, the last time I had a day, I think it was actually at Belmont, where a lot of 7s won like this, and I was wearing a 7 shirt. So don't call me superstitious, Terry, but I actually won one of those horse tourney contests at Belmont for like $2 that turned into $1,000. So if you want to be lucky on a day the 7 horse wins, please go over to horseracingtoday.net. You'll see a link for horse racing HRT gear in the menu. Click on that. Go get yourself a lucky number 7 shirt, and you too might win one of those horse racing handicapping contests. But it's also a great way to look great at the track and support the show. For me, in race number 6, as I mentioned, gonna go with that 7 horse there, Terry. Free Soul. That's all you Californians for sure. Does have a 2 furlong edge and a plus advantage when you look at the combination of early pace and late pace. So horse should be competitive from the time the gates open to the time the gates close. Won its first race on the turf as a 50-cent favorite after trying dirt the first 4 races. So maybe this is a horse that just likes the grass. Number 1, Gigante, I think that's how we got that one, does ride the 24% winning rail. Big step up in its last effort on dirt last time out. Debut on the turf wasn't anywhere near as good as that dirt race was, but maybe just needed one after the career first start and should maybe be in form here. Number 2, Rarefied Flair broke maiden in its 3rd try in a $105,000 race at Saratoga. So high quality start for sure. Has speed, and gets first Lasix. And Terry, how much I love that combination of early speed and Lasix. So when you see that in your past performances, a horse that shows speed, I especially like it when he shows speed and then fades, comes back at a value with that first-time Lasix. That angle has hit so many winners for me. And also, the distance shouldn't be a problem for this horse. He's run 2 times with a win and a third. Number 8, Determined Crush. Better fractions last time out at 1 mile and a 16th. Than the previous race at 1 mile in the debut. I don't believe the speed figure decline. I wouldn't really look into it that much or pay much faith to it because of the fact that the fractions were actually faster. And I think that speed number decline might actually entice some bettors to play away from that horse. So maybe we might get value in that race. Race 7 is another one of these stakes races, 5.5 furlongs on the outer turf. This one is the Woodford Reserve Da Hoss Stakes. It's also the first race of, I think, 2 in a row that are 5.5 furlongs on the outer turf. Profile of a winner at that short sprint distance on grass. They've done it 61 times, 39 times, as you probably can imagine, Terry, were won by speed. 11 times horses led from gate to wire. Again, we find an outside to inside bias. 1 through 3, there is a penalty, with the rail being the worst of the 3. 4 through 7 play fair. 8 and out, we get a nice bonus again. Race number 7, there was a scratch in here. I think the 11 horse, is that the only one that scratched out, Terry, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
This is a race that has the race shape is pretty interesting once again, because you have a bunch of horses that want to get to the front, a bunch of horses that like the pressure, and a few horses here that like to close. So some symmetry in this race here. The 6 horse and the 8 horse getting squared off means they're likely to be the leaders, with the 8 horse probably getting the jump on the 4, having an advantage at the 4 furlong marker. And then on the way in, a pressure horse, the 7 horse, does carry the best late pace in the field and the best combination of early run and late run. Take us through your picks in race number. We're in race number 7, right? So this is your box it up, Terry.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 8, Nobody Listens, is my first pick.
Sounds like my house.
Yeah. Well, this horse loves to win. He's won 7 out of 14 career races, has the highest last speed rating, switches to a high percentage winning trainer who wins 29% of the non-graded stakes, and has a good workout on August 30th. And then number 7, Mata. He finished in the money in the last 10 races, winning 3 of those. His best turn speed is fastest among today's starters, and he has a bullet workout on August 27th. My third pick is number 4, County Final. He won his last race at Colonial Downs, and his jockey in his last 7 days has a record of 7 starts, 3 wins, and a second. And then number 10, Just Wave and Smile. He has won 3 races in a row and has a trainer who wins 23% of the time when shipping a horse in to run.
That sounds like royal advice. Just wave and smile, like something they would tell a duchess or something, right?
Yeah.
All right. So for me in race number 7, Terry, I'm going to start with my long shot here, which is okay for you because it is in your box it up. So you'll be pulling for me as well.
I will.
That is Mata. In the money, 7 out of 8 at the distance, 3 wins, a second, and 3/3. 2 bullet workouts getting ready. And as I mentioned, the horse does have a little bit of some early giddy up and go. Number 4 at County Final, won his last. That was the first time he tried Colonial Downs grass. Stephen Asmussen repeats off of a win at 21%. I mean, he wins all the time anyway. Number 8, Nobody Listens. Again, that is the problem in my house. Does have a 4 plus advantage at the 4 furlong marker, so probably going to be on the lead after a half mile. Needs to take that form, however, from Indianapolis, Horseshoe Indianapolis now, not Indiana Grand anymore. And that could be a little bit of an ask versus Tougher Company. And then finally, number 3, Yes and Yes. And that would be if someone asked me if I wanted to win the lottery. Drops from a grade 3, much better in the later part of its last effort. But the problem for me with the Yes and Yes horse here, Terry, is that when you just look at the past performances, it really looks to me like 5.5 furlongs is probably too short, that it's probably wants a little bit more distance. So keep that in mind.
All right.
Hey, Charles, race 7, the 5 horse is in the money in race number 7. And unfortunately, neither one of us have E.F. Hutton's in the money absolute lock. So maybe a horse you want to wheel around. Maybe take Terry's picks and my picks and wheel them around the 5 horse with a win and a show effort there. Race number 8. Let me put this up on here, Terry. Race 8, the third of the stakes races. And I think the 7 horse is going to win them all. But again, 5.5 furlongs on the outer turf for the Exacta Systems Rosie's Stakes. 5.5 furlongs, as we mentioned. Got to be fast. You probably prefer to be on the outside than the inside. we have race number 8. Again, a lot of speed, early speed again, but another symmetrical looking race in here, Terry, where you see a lot of the horses. You got 3 that want to be in the front, 3 that want to be in the middle, 2 that want to chase at the end. We do have a lot of these early speed horses do have, like the 7 has the top late pace, the top early pace combination. The 5 horse in here getting squared off, probably going to be the pace setter, as it does have a early pace advantage of 5 points and then almost 10 points at 4 furlongs. So I think the 5 could start off on the lead, kind of pull away, and then see if anybody can run it down. Obviously, I think that 7 horse is going to do it, but I backed it up. You think the 5 horses is going to get to the front, stay in the front, and never look back?
I do. I think so. Grand Oak, he has the highest last speed rating. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters, and he has a high percentage winning trainer. Then I like number 1, Call Me Iceman. He won his last race at Colonial Downs, has a high percentage winning trainer, switches to high percentage winning jockey, has a good workout on August 28th, 4 furlongs.
Oh, this is race 8, right? I got the wrong race in there. I'm sorry, Terry. Go ahead.
Yeah, race 8. And then number 8
Still
is my
race.
third pick, Flamingo Phase. He won his debut race at Colonial Downs and switches to a high percentage winning jockey. So when they've won their first race, you never know what's going to happen in the second one. Number 7, Fit to Fly. He has a high percentage winning trainer. His breeding suggests he will like the grass, as the dam has produced 1 turf winner, and his jockey in the last 7 days has been in the money 8 out of 14 times, won 4 of those, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and he has a good workout on August 27th.
I'm going to start off with the 7 once again. Fit to Fly. Hopefully he does fly. Does have a 2 furlong early pace advantage and almost a double plus late 4 furlong advantage. It's going to get first time Lasix. We talked about that just a couple of races ago. I love the combination of early speed and first time Lasix. It hits a lot. Trainer Larry Ravelli wins 33% of the time. The first time his horses get a dose of Lasix. And since the horse has got the Lasix, got a bullet workout in there too. So looks like it's already having a benefit. Number 5, Grand Oak did run the top last race. Speed figure much better in the first half mile in its last race. Very strong possibility the horse is better in round 2 out of the barn. Number 1, Call Me Iceman. I really wanted to take that horse and rank it higher, but the rail just does not work at the distance. But trainer Michael Campbell does win at 31% with the babies, which is a strong number for the 2-year-olds. Finally, number 6, Evenly Divided. Got the maiden win in its first try on grass. Trevor McCarthy is riding this horse, and I really like Trevor on horses that require patience and not require a horse to be up on the pace. Just seems to me that Trevor is more comfortable coming from the back, well, the middle or back, than he is getting up front and trying to hold everybody off. Before we move on to race number 8, what are you going to be doing tonight at 8 o'clock, Terry?
I'm tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm gonna be watching what you guys have on. What you're on this week, right? With
yes, and I'm on this week. Jamie Martinez gets a vacation, at least from working with Sean, but she will be back next week. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we'll be back with jockey Jerry Villegas. So if you have any questions for Jerry, or you want to see what's on the news, it's always fun to hear from jockeys, how they get to where they are, the type of riding style that they prefer. It's always a pretty fun conversation. So make sure you check that out. Also, make sure, I know Sean yesterday mentioned that our friend, great friend of the show, Chantel Sutherland, was sporting some horse racing today gear. So if it's good enough for Chantel, should be good enough for you as well. There she is, sporting that with her dogs. Looking good in number 3, right? For sure. Yeah. So that looks good. And you can head on over to her. She's got a website. I think it's called Jockey Chantel. I know Sean linked to it in our Facebook page here. So make sure you check that out. Support Chantel. She's a great friend of the show. And make sure you support us by subscribing on YouTube, all of our social sites. And again, thumbs up if you like what you see. Tell your friends about us. And let's move on, Terry, to race number 9. Race 9 is yet another one of these stakes races. It is only a mile and an eighth, so almost doubling up from that last race. It is the Woodford Reserve Virginia Oaks, so a pretty big one, running for $200,000, Terry. And at the distance so far, they've put in 3 races, how can this be 3 races? I got 3 races, 6 won from off the pace. I don't know how that goes. It's 9 races, Terry.
Yeah.
6 were won off the pace, but the 6 that did not win off the pace went wire to wire. So either be fast or be chasing. All the wins came from posts 4 through 7. And again, we have our pace worksheet for race number 9. A lot of horses in here in race number 9, Terry. A lot of them, if not almost all of them, want to actually close. So that's a pretty interesting thing. It should, even though, as we mentioned, most of the races were won by horses that came off the pace, with so many that want to close, perhaps a couple of these left arrow horses that have some early pace, the 14 of which having the most early pace and late combination, they're probably going to pop ahead of this 3, although the 3 does have a pretty good combination of early pace and late pace. In fact, for most of these horses, the late pace numbers and the early pace combinations are really close. I think this race is wide open, Terry, one where just about anything could happen again. And we agree on 2 horses this time.
Yeah, it looks like it is just 2 horses. So, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, 2 horses. No, we're in race number 9, right?
Yeah, so we have the 3. I think we have the 2 and the 2 and the 13 are the only ones we agree on. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I like number 3, Cachet. She ran second on an all-weather track in her last race, and she can either come from off the pace or she can come from being on the lead. And her dam has produced 1 turf winner. So I like the angle of either being on a lead or coming off the pace, and you kind of referenced that when you were talking about her. Mm-hmm. And the other girl in here, number 13, Oakhurst. She drops in class today, has the highest last race speed rating tied with another, and her best turf speed is fastest among today's starters. And then number 9, Sparkle Blue. She won her last race at Delaware Park, has a high percentage winning trainer. She wins 25% of the races with the trainer wins 25% of the races when he uses first-time Lasix. And in the last 14 days, he's won 2 out of 5 starts. Number 2, surprisingly, she's my 4th pick. She won her last race at Ellis Park, has the highest last race speed rating, and she's tied actually with Oakhurst. And her trainer in the last 14 days has won 3 out of 5 starts. She has a high percentage winning jockey.
I'm going to go number 13, Oakhurst. Did tie, a bunch of horses did tie in here for the top last race speed figure. Did have a powerful late move in that last race, and I expect that powerful move will lead over to a better race in the 3rd race off of the break, and does drop in class here. So number 3, what do I have the 2? I don't even have my own. This is race number 9, right? So I got 13. This is supposed to be the 3, not the 2. So that means my so now we agree on 3 horses. That means my 2 horse, my late pick 4 is going to be screwed up. But anyway, Katichi, I guess maybe first grass race, but the all-weather record, as you mentioned, Terry, 6 times out, 2 wins, 3 seconds. And from my experience, many times horses that run well on all-weather or in off-track can be clues to how they'll perform on a turf race the first time out. And then Jonathan Thomas, the trainer, does win at 28% the first time he puts a horse on the turf surface. Number 5, Full Count Felicia. I'm not the biggest fan of horses that are making that maiden special weight right up into a stakes company, unless they have the tie or a top last race speed figure, one of 3 horses to tie for that number. So I do like that, and has a bullet work since that last race. That means that horse will probably put another sharp effort in on the track today. And then number 14, this name is okay. So obviously they couldn't think of anything else in here, Terry. It is a left arrow horse that does have the top early pace, late pace combination. Again, very competitive in that spot, but is the 3rd horse of these horses to tie for the top last race speed figure. Race 10 is the last of the stakes races in here. It is a 1.1 miles on the inner turf. It is the Virginia Derby, grade 3 for $300,000. Race number 10, our pace worksheets down here. We did get a scratch on the 8 horse, the 10, the 6, and the 7, and then 1. So the 10, 6, 7, 9, 1 all have very similar late pace numbers. You do find a couple of left arrow horses in here with the 3 horse. the 1 horse, the 5 horse, the 2 horse. I mean, the 2 horse. The 2 horse is kind of interesting to me because it's not going to get the lead. It's going to be a pressure, so it's a pretty good spot to be in for that horse. But when they get to the 6 furlong marker, so 3/4 of a mile for the 5 horse, it does have a late pace. I mean, a pace advantage that after 3/4 of a mile could put that horse on the lead by as much as a length. So I think the 5 horse probably runs second, maybe third or fourth, and then just steadily advances to the 3/4 mile marker. This is your long shot of the day in here, Terry, the 11 horse. I don't have it, so I'm kind of freaked out from my late pick 4, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I like Grand David. He's going for his 4th win in a row, winning his last race at Gulfstream Park. And the trainer wins 23% of the time when chipping a horse in to run. And then I like horses that come from Gulfstream and come to Colonial Downs. Number 9 is my second pick, Limited Liability. He has finished in the money in 5 out of 6 career races, winning 2 of those races. And his trainer in the last 14 days have won 3 out of 5 starts. Number 7, my third pick, Unanimous Consent. He has won 3 of his 4 starts on the turf, so he likes the turf. Is trained by Chad Brown and ridden by Manny Franco. And then number 5, Catnip. He won his last race at Colonial Downs, has a high percentage winning trainer and a high percentage winning jockey.
All right. So number 10, I like Unanimous Consent. Won his first 3 races, then tried a grade 2, and the race wasn't as bad as it looked. Finished 6th. That looks bad, but only by like 1 1/4 lengths or something like that. But if you look closely at the past performances, it was the only time that the horse had run 2 races in a row without a break. The other 3 races, it ran, took a break, raced, took a break, ran, took a break, won all 3 of those. So it looks to me like this is one of those horses that runs well fresh, needs some time off, and then comes back to run. Number 5, Catnip, does have the late pace figures in here. Did have a wide trip last out, taking the maiden special weight. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the class rise, but the wide race, top last numbers at the end should be competitive as they come down the stretch. Number 10, Capensis, maybe. As I mentioned, does have the top early pace, late pace combination in the field. Did have some issues in the last race as the even money favorite. I think a clean trip might be all that's needed here. And then finally, number 9, Limited Liability. On the turf, 6 times, 2 wins, 3/3. Been running in graded stakes races 4 of the last 6 times, 4 of its career 6 starts. It's going to close late, but this one tends to get off to like really, really slow starts. And in a deep field, sometimes I concern myself with horses that come from out of the clouds, so to speak, getting so far behind that they end up getting a blocked or troubled trip. So that's my concern in the Virginia Derby for the 9 horse. Last race on the card, Terry, is a mile and 3/16 on the outer turf. It is an optional claiming race for $25,000. They have not run one at that distance, so no point in talking about the profile of a winner there. There is a major scratch in this race, Terry, with the 5 horse. I was going to be all over this one, but unfortunately, the trainer's not all over putting him in. The 7 horse, typically a closer, getting the left arrow, meaning he's not going to have to work too hard to move his way a little bit closer to the front. If he still has some late kick, has an opportunity to do some damage. The 4 horse in here, Terry, and the 7 horse is going to do a lot of damage today because that's the shirt I wore. 4 horse should be pretty well situated. And as far as the late pace is concerned, the 12 horse showing the most punch out of the horses that remain out of the closers. Take us home in the final race where we both have a lot of disagreement today, but apparently not on the last race.
That's right. And actually, the pick 4 ends in the 10th.
Oh, the 10th race.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through these and we'll bring it back up.
Okay. I like number 1, Trail Ridge Road. She ran second versus similar in her last race, has a high percentage winning trainer and a high percentage winning jockey who in the last 14 days have been in the money 8 out of 14 times, winning 4 of those. Number 8, Soft Touch is my second pick. She won her last race at Colonial Downs, has a high percentage winning trainer, switches to high percentage winning jockey, and a bullet workout on August 26th. And then number 12, Nicolar. She ran second in her last race and likes the turf. And then number 10, Badia. She finished third versus similar in her last race. She has the highest last race speed rating, and her trainer in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 5 races.
So the Soft Touch is a maiden special weight riser. Does have a bullet workout between races. I think this one should be close to the pace in a field full of closers. So could really have a pace edge in here. Number 1, Trail Ridge Road is 3/4 of a length from being undefeated in 2 races. But I'm concerned that the rail could be an issue. It's been an issue at every other distance on the grass. Number 2, Nicolar missed by a head in the last race, real close to winning 3 out of 4 races. When jockey Jorge Ruiz is in the irons. Finally, number 10, Batya did run the top last race. Speed figure comes from the clouds. Again, I mentioned I do worry about those horses that get so far behind in deep fields. Can end up getting in trouble, although I expect top-notch jockey Joel Rosario to give the horse a fantastic ride. As you mentioned, Terry, the late pick 4 is an all-stakes pick 4. It is also our prime rib pick 4 at 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we're behind by a race here. But here's what it looks like. Terry's going to go 4x4x4x3 for the traditional $96. For some reason, his sheet said it was $100, but I went ahead and made that change. Put an extra $4 in your pocket, Terry.
All right.
I'm going to go 3x3x4. That's not supposed to be the 2 horse. It's not 2 twice. It's 13-3-5-4-2 in race number 9. I'm surprised I didn't catch that when I did the thing here. So race 9, 13-3-5-14 and 2, and then closing it out in race 10 with 7, 5, 10, and 9. Again, Terry, here are all of our full picks in here. Race number 11, Charles likes the 9 horse, wins for fun. You and I don't have the 9 horse, so hopefully it doesn't spoil our fun in our late pick 4s there, Terry. But our best bets, mine is in race number 3, the 8 horse. Terry's best bets in race number 6, the 2 horse. My long shot is in race number 7. 7 and 7. I mean, 7 on this day. What's new for me? Terry's long shots in race number 10, the 11 horse, a horse I don't have. So a couple of ways. Terry can screw up my late pick 4. Charles can screw up my late pick 4. Our box it ups, Terry, looked like this in races number 7 and race number 2. So I'm coming out of the box with my box it up. You like the 8, the 7, the 4, and the 10 as a $1 exacta box, 50-cent trifecta box, 10-cent superfecta box. I like the 8, the 4, and the 7 too, and just a different race, throwing in the 1 in there, 7 channels. If you didn't have a chance to hear Terry and I talk about our youths and TVs, make sure you check that part out.
Yeah.
Our hot dog pick 4 starting in race number 2. Terry's going to go with the where's the beef, a big bun on the outside, skinny hamburger in the middle. I'm going to go with singling the 3 horse. We both agree in race number 5. If you look at those picks and in our full picks, 8 horses between Terry and I, we don't agree on a single one of them. And then finally, our prime rib pick 4s, again, the last 4 stakes races on the card, not the last 4 races on the card, Terry. And again, one final look at all of our picks there today at Colonial Downs. Tonight, before you watch Sean and I, or if you're going to participate in the Mountaineer contest, wherever they have a Mountaineer contest. You know what I did, Terry? I did something really stupid. I just closed out my internet up on the top there. Wanted to bring up Guaranteed Tip Sheet because tonight, the free track of the day at Guaranteed Tip Sheet is Mountaineer Park. So make sure you check that out if you're going to be, if you're going to do a little action tonight after we're done cleaning up the card at Colonial Downs. Mountaineer Park, free tonight at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There's a link here in the description on YouTube, at Facebook, on Twitter. There's links all over the horseracingtoday.net site. Please click on one of those so they know where you came from. And of course, in a few minutes, I will put up the recap, which includes an image of the pace worksheet over at horseracingtoday.net. Whew, long card, big races, a lot of talking, Terry. Any final thoughts before we get up and out of here?
Yeah, it's been hotter than hell here yesterday. It was 114. And I plan on staying in the house today because it's supposed to be 109. But other than that, I hope everybody's
how old you are or no?
I'm 73.
Oh, I thought you were.
I'll
be as old as the temperatures, Terry.
Yeah,
never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I know I'm bad.
I'm wise though. I'll tell you that. Anyway,
I know.
I plan
like an owl.
Yeah, I plan on taking it easy in the next few days. I hope everybody else does. I'm having my new TV delivered today because my other one went out, so I'm very excited about that. And then again, my phone went out again, so I don't. I'm not very excited about that.
So, Bursa Madonna says race number 2, the 7 is an easy as wins. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't, Julio. We're not allowed to broadcast the races. We'd love to broadcast the races. I actually reached out to a company to see if we can license them. I won't mention who they are, but the email was a little bit terse in the reply. They told us, go ahead and create your own content. And I'm like, dude, that's what we're doing. We want to promote your simulcasting of the races. But, if someone's kind of jerky with me, I don't really want to deal with them, Terry. I don't know about you. I want to make sure, and this is probably good life advice, just surround yourself with people who are good to you, who are kind to you, who lift you up, and might want to make sure that you have a blessed day. So we certainly hope you have a blessed day on this new TV, Terry Tuesday.
Yeah.
And whether you're betting at Colonial Downs today, or, one thing I would tell you, Julio, just open up an account with like Twin Spires. Well, Twin Spires is probably the best because they don't make you bet in order to watch the races. So Twin Spires, open one up over there. You can watch the races on that. Go ahead and do that. And then no matter what else you do today, as I mentioned, have a blessed day. And we hope that no matter what you're doing in your life, new TV, betting at the races, hanging out in AC because it's too hot, putting in 9 to 5, whatever it is, Terry, where do we want it to end up?
In the winner's circle.
Yes, indeed. Fantastic. Have a great Terry Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow with Charles, where we'll cover Delaware Park. Thursday, Tom and I will be back to tackle the madness that is Kentucky Downs. Till then, have a fantastic day.